There's nothing like summer in the French Riviera. This is Black Girl.
Yeah, it's funny, like you said, with Cannes happening right now.
Yeah. The irony.
Yeah.
The new Joachim Trier film is getting a lot of buzz. Apparently, it's really good. Got like a 19-minute standing ovation.
I feel like that's kind of par for the course at Cannes, though, right?
Yeah, but not always. Like another one I heard like a 6-minute ovation. How embarrassing.
Oh my God. Only 6 minutes.
So fun.
I love those videos of people standing there at Cannes when they're getting this like prolonged applause and a standing ovation, and then it's like the cameraman is like right on the person.
I always think of the cameraman.
And they're just awkwardly standing there and just kind of like not knowing what to do with themselves.
The key is, I think, to wave at the camera for 1 second and then like pretend the camera's not there.
Yeah.
And like cry. I like when they cry. I love when they cry.
Not everyone can cry on demand.
Yeah, I guess.
Hello.
Hey.
Welcome to Seen and Heard. This is the podcast all about the sight and sound greatest films of all time list. I'm Greg.
I'm Jackie.
And we're on the 2022 list. As we were last week, we started it last week.
So this is number 95. However, 95 is the last number before 101 on this list. So it just goes from 95 to 101.
Yeah, because of all the ties.
So at 95, we have Once Upon a Time in the West, which we've done. A Man Escaped, which we've done. The General, which we've done. And then it's Black Girl, which we're doing.
Yeah.
But then it becomes Tropical Malady, also 95. And Get Out, also 95.
So yeah, we'll have those to look forward to.
Yeah.
But yeah, we ping pong. If you're new to the show, we ping pong back and forth. So last week, we did Cleo from 5 to 7. I think that was like number 13 on the new list. Now we're at the bottom of the list. Yeah, obviously, like Jackie just said, there's already a lot of films on this list that we've done last time for the 2012 list. We're skipping those for obvious reasons. And
imagine we just did.
So this is actually the most complicated ping pong because it's like, yeah, we're ping ponging between the top and bottom, but we're doing select ones that we haven't already covered.
Right.
What were you asking?
I was going to say, what if we did re-record?
Oh.
How have your thoughts changed?
I don't think enough time has passed.
No.
Like maybe 10 years from now, we could re-record.
Maybe.
I feel like my thoughts have changed very little in the 3.5 years that we've done some of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, before we get into Black Girl this week, Jackie, what else have you been watching?
I started watching The Sopranos.
Oh, really? Wait, have you finished Twin Peaks?
No.
Oh, no.
Still watching that. This is why I don't like TV.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that. And then I also started rewatching Mad Men. Because I was like, I kind of want to write something. And so I was like, okay, maybe I should watch TV if I'm going to try and write it.
That's fair. Yeah.
So
you're watching a lot.
I'm still watching Twin Peaks. Or maybe I've seen one episode.
One?
Okay, but something happened in it, and it was that spoiler that I told you that I had seen, and so I was pissed.
Where you find out the killer.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, keep going.
So, but I wasn't even excited. That's why I was really bummed, actually.
Yeah.
Because I knew it was going to happen. Anyway, I watched Mildred Pierce, which I've never seen, the Joan Crawford movie. I love her so much. I hate the daughter.
Yes, the daughter's trash.
I hate the daughter so much. Good movie, though. I really enjoyed it. And then I saw 2001: A Space Odyssey at Mount Wilson.
Oh, cool.
So we went up there, and by the way, it was like freezing. And this was this past weekend. Like, it was like 40 degrees up there, and we were driving in a cloud. It was crazy.
Wow.
So it's at the observatory, but they play movies not in the observatory, in the auditorium right next to it. So they play sci-fi movies.
Cool.
It was fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I love it up there. It's like, yeah, you do go into a cloud.
You're driving in a cloud. It's kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
Yeah, it snows up there.
Yeah. What have you been watching?
A couple things. I can't remember if I mentioned this last time or not. I saw a movie called Incubus with William Shatner from 1966, which is for a while a lost film that they rediscovered. But it's it's directed by the guy that created The Outer Limits. And it has this really cool feel to it because they speak, do you know Esperanto? It's a made-up language. I guess all language is made up, but it was made up in the late 19th century by this guy who intended it to be a universal language.
So interesting.
But they speak it in this movie. Like the whole movie is in Esperanto. It's like William Shatner.
Really
But it's this cool, dreamy, weird movie that I totally dug. It's totally like my kind of movie. So I enjoyed that. I'm now filling in my Ken Russell gaps. So like last year I went through the bulk of Ken Russell's filmography, at least the stuff that's like readily available. And now I'm like filling in some of the gaps of stuff I hadn't seen. And the one that really stuck out for me was Salome's Last Dance, but based on Salome, the story from the Bible.
Yep.
And he frames it in a fucking great way. Again, the movie is Oscar Wilde going to a brothel.
Yeah, because I think I've heard of this.
Yeah. And so he goes and they put on a production of Salome, which the play was banned at the time. And so the entire film is Oscar Wilde watching them put on a production of Salome.
That's really
And
cool.
it was like wild. It's wild. Like Ken Russell continues to deliver the goods.
Wow.
He's amazing.
You know, that's really interesting because there was a new Otto Magoyan film called Seven Veils from last year. And that's about a production of the opera Salome.
Right.
So it's like, I'm sure he must have seen this and like... Because they're both but just putting on productions of it. It's not like we're actually in biblical times and watching Salome. It's really interesting.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting way to get around having to mount a proper period thing.
Right.
It's like, oh, what if people are just watching a production of it?
Yeah, it's cool.
But especially the lead actress in this, Imogen Millay Scott, as far as I know, she was in nothing else. Wow. And people online are kind of trying to track her down. She's so arresting in this movie. Like, oh my God, this performance. She's magnetic on screen. She's magnetic. And the fact that you look her up and you just can't find anything. Like, It's so mysterious. So anyway, really loved that.
I have to see it.
Yeah, it's good. Anyway, that's me.
Okay.
Should we get into this week's film?
Yes.
From 1966, this is Ousmane Sembène's Black Girl.
Black Girl was released in 1966. It was written and directed by Ousmane Sembène, based on his novella of the same name. Cinematography by Christian Lacoste. Douana arrives from Senegal to the south of France to work as a nanny for a French family on holiday. Full of big dreams about living in France, her expectations are quickly crushed by the matriarch of the family, known only as Madame. The children are not present, and instead Madame berates Douana to do menial housework she was not hired for. In flashbacks, we learned that Madame hired Douana in Senegal, and she initially did care for their children. On her first day on the job, she gifted her employers a Senegalese mask, which they display on their wall. Douana left her boyfriend and family to join Madame and her family on their holiday in France, which she now regrets. Madame's behavior becomes increasingly abusive, eventually withholding food until Douana does her chores. Douana attempts to take back the mask she gave the family, and a fight ensues. Douana's depression worsens, and after the couple go out one night, she takes her own life. Madame's husband, Monsieur, returns the mask and Douana's belongings to her family in Senegal. Her mother refuses his money, and a little boy from the village takes the mask, puts it on, and follows Monsieur as he nervously looks over his shoulder, running back to the airport. The film stars M'Bissine Thérèse Diop as Douana, Anne-Marie Jelinek as Madame, and Robert Fontaine as Monsieur. Ousmane Sembène was 43 when he wrote and directed this film. It was his first feature film, and the first feature film made in Africa by a sub-Saharan African to attract international attention. He was self-made and self-taught. From Senegal, he went to France as a stowaway. He worked on the docks in Marseille until he got injured. And then when he was injured, he spent his recovery reading a lot, visiting museums, and he became a self-taught novelist. In 1960, when Senegal gained independence, he moved back and decided he had to become a filmmaker. One of the reasons he felt compelled to choose film as his art was to reach his compatriots. He wanted to reach people in rural populations with low literacy. So he got a scholarship to go to film school in Russia. In 1963, France set up a cinema bureau within the Ministry of Cooperation. The Ministry of Cooperation was set up to handle France's relations with its former colonies. Sembène made 2 short films before submitting his script for Black Girl for funding at the Cinema Bureau. But he was denied, and it was the only script to ever be denied by the Bureau of Cooperation. I'm not sure what exactly happened here, but it seems like one of the reasons that Douane's inner monologue is in French, despite Madame saying that she doesn't speak French, is because it had to be dubbed in French for funding purposes. So I think that was like a criteria they put on him to eventually get funding, or he got funding elsewhere, but that was still the case.
See, I took it as she knows how to speak French and she's never let on.
Oh, I thought Madame was just being a bitch and saying she doesn't know how to speak proper French.
Right, that too, that could be.
And we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
This is M'Bissine Thérèse Diop's first role. She was a non-professional actress at the time. She was a seamstress who made her own costumes for the film. Ousmane Sembène shows up briefly in the film. He is the public letter writer with his pipe. He was always smoking a pipe, apparently, and every picture you see of him also has a pipe.
It's got a style.
Yeah. The French title is La Noire de. De can mean 2 things. It can mean from or of, but there's an ellipsis at the end. So it's either Black person from somewhere or belonging to someone. So if after de it was Madame, like it's Madame's Black person. Or if after that it was like Senegal, it was like Black woman from Senegal.
I see.
So there's a little bit of a purposeful ambiguity that gets
earrings
lost.
of Madame Dub plays with the same kind
totally,
of...
Totally. The film had a lukewarm reception. No one really thought it would have a lasting effect or influence. Roger Ebert didn't like it. But in 2016, it was restored and re-released to a much more appreciative audience and critics as well. So, yeah.
Roger Ebert didn't like it?
He didn't like it.
What the hell?
I think he thought it was just a little underbaked.
Underbaked?
So, yeah. Are you one of those people that underbakes cookies on
yes.
purpose?
Oh, hell yeah.
Same. Sometimes underbaked. Not that I think this is underbaked. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, an underbaked movie is no good.
No,
underbaked cookie,
but
just
I
the right
don't think
amount.
this movie's
Perfect.
underbaked at all.
Yeah. The key is high temperature, because then high and fast, because then you kind of get a crisp on the outside, but the inside is still kind of gooey.
How long do you bake them for?
You'd have to ask Mom. I don't know. She has her special recipe, but there's nothing worse than like an overcooked, like
chocolate chip
brittle cookie that's like hard.
Yeah. Initial thoughts.
I'd seen this before, and my letterbox tells me that I first watched it during the pandemic. It was like at the beginning of the pandemic, and I liked it a lot. I think it was right around the time that Criterion first put it out, which is when it was on my radar for the first time. But I think this is the kind of movie that should be on the 2022 list. It's a movie that, not that it was obscure before, but it's an incredibly potent film. A movie whose, unfortunately, its message will always kind of be
relevant.
Yeah. It's hard to talk about this movie without getting too dark, but the times we're living in now, this movie absolutely still is in the conversation. The themes that this movie is dealing with is still in the conversation. We're still dealing with these things now. But I love the economy of its storytelling and the fact that you get in and out in an hour, and there's so much going on in the movie, and I just think it's beautiful. It's beautifully done.
I do too.
There's a simplicity to it, which is just really striking, and she's incredible in the movie. She's so good.
She is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's essential. It's the kind of movie I want to see on the 2022 list, as opposed to like, there's just thinking back, because everything is so European focused, especially on the 2012 list. And it's these like legacy European movies that have been around for 70 years. Yeah, Rules of the Game, which again, it's good. But like, I'm tired of talking about those movies.
And it's so high up the list.
It's so high up the list, and it's time for some of those to get knocked down and stuff like Black Girl to replace some of those, which I think is what happened on this new list. So it's time to talk about Black Girl.
And it's also good that it was like, it got restored in 2016. The fact that it showed up on 2022 list really shows the way that the tide has turned on it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I was
How about you?
blown away at the simplicity of this and how effective it is by being so straightforward. Because sometimes, straightforward movies are just boring or they're placid. That's the right word to use, right?
Yeah.
So, but the simplicity in this is just so effective, and I think that that's like something to be studied. It is extremely upsetting, but even at its most upsetting moments, I did not think it was going to go where it went. Like, I was actually really shocked.
I had forgotten.
Really shocked.
Yeah, I don't know how I forgot because I saw it 5 years ago. But
that's a long time.
When it happened this time, I was like, "Oh!"
Did you remember?
No.
It happened, but not how it happened?
No, I didn't even remember that it happened. But I remembered the whole rest of the movie, and I remembered the guy going to Senegal and stuff, but I didn't remember her taking her life in the bathtub and all that stuff, yeah.
And I'm going to pull it, Greg. It was a good movie, but then the ending made it a great movie.
There you go.
That ending is so good.
Yeah. With the kid in the mask.
Yeah. And we'll talk about all this, so let's just jump into it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about her arrival at the dock.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing special, but it is made special with like her POV shots, with her calm and hopeful face, with her voiceover asking like, is anyone going to be here to greet me? But it's just, it's so simple. Like, there's nothing special about that moment. There's nothing inherently special about that moment, but just the way that it becomes this like event.
Well, in the way that she's taking in France.
Sure.
In the car ride too. Like the stuff that's whizzing by.
Yeah. But again, like it's nothing we haven't seen before, but it just feels so special here.
Yeah.
And her outfits, like from the second we see her outfits are so integral to her character. And we get a sense of it from the start. And I love that, learning that she made her own clothes. I love that. But again, like her clothes act as just like a simple symbol of her individuality.
And of course, that's what she'd be wearing because that's what she wears where she lives. And now she's in the French Riviera. And so what her normal dress compared to where she's living now is this total different thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, she sticks out.
Yes.
And when she takes off the wig too.
Mm-hmm. And of course, it's one of the things that Madame targets when she's cruel to her, and she says like, you're not going to a party. At that point I was like, wait, what is she talking about? Oh, Madame sucks.
She's trash. It's like the worst kind of Stockholm syndrome too, because she kind of like pretends that she's taking care of you and she has your back and like will be occasionally nice to her, but it's always followed with something barbed or something, I mean, it's a horrific situation in which she was hired to be a nanny, and she's like, great, I'll take care of your kids. And she gets there, and the kids don't really need taken care of.
The kids aren't even there.
The kids aren't even there. And then when they are there, she's just kind of like barely supervising them because they're older.
That's the oldest one. So there was those 2 young ones when they were in Senegal, and I'm wondering where they are. They're probably at like summer camp or something.
Yeah.
Or like visiting relatives. But yeah, that older one, really doesn't need her. And he's a jerk to her from the start.
He is, yeah.
But going back to just this like straightforward and symbol, like, and even, the mask, like it's such an obvious symbol of appropriation of culture and so much. And just the simple act of like, it's like the first thing she notices when she walks in their house, that they're like using it as a souvenir essentially. And I was like, oh, that's annoying. Like immediately I got it. I was like, of course, that's like the first thing she sees. And then when we learn she's the one who gifted it to them, it packs an even bigger punch.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she reclaims it, it becomes so important to the story, to her story.
Well, it's like when she gifts it to him in that flashback, the husband's just like, I think that's real. Like that's his concern, is that they're posing as this like worldly couple who have friends over and who think it's exotic to kiss a black woman and stuff. And it's this whole disgusting, just like bougie, like, oh, well, we have a authentic African mask on the wall. But they don't give two fucks about the culture.
No, they don't. They don't. But then in the end, when it becomes like an act of defiance, like this little boy just putting it on and just having him follow him. Like, he doesn't even do anything. There's no fight. He just follows him with the mask on. Yeah. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
It's really, really great. And the guy's like scared. He's like looking over his shoulder.
Yeah, fuck that guy. That guy looks like a ghoul.
Yeah. And he thinks he's doing something good. Like, he's like, oh, I'm going to return to Senegal and give Duana's mom like money and her luggage. And Duana's mom's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
But again, so simple.
Yes.
Even like when they open the suitcase and there's a picture of her and her boyfriend in it, like I cried. But that's such a like, it's I use the word obvious and just like it is a straightforward and obvious thing to do, but it's so effective.
Yeah. Well, they're such assholes too that they're not even affected by her death, really.
No.
Like the husband goes just out of guilt, like pure guilt. Like he's the slightly better person of the two. Like the wife is a true monster.
Yeah.
He's still a piece of shit. He's complicit in all this. And whenever the wife complains that Duana is doing something or not doing something, he's just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So he's like, a fuck too.
Yeah. He's like, maybe it would be good for her to go out in the city. And the wife's like, why?
She only knows the butcher or whatever.
And the husband's like, oh, okay. Like.
Yeah. They're trash. You know, it's funny in comparison to Cleo from 5 to 7 last week, which if you listen to that episode, like I still think it's great, but the French cuteness of that movie was like a little cloying. This is the movie I wanted next.
Opposite.
Where it's
exactly.
Like, remember that line from Dumb and Dumber? He's like, I don't know, Lloyd, the French are assholes. No, the whole time out that line was going through my head. And obviously the French are just stand-ins in this movie for all of white.
Yeah.
You know, colonial.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah, especially in this movie where it is this like beautiful French Riviera, but everyone there's a fucking asshole.
Exactly. It's really a side we don't see. Like, I thought about Cleo too. And I was like, oh, Cleo would definitely be Madame. Before. The first half of the movie, Cleo would be Madame. But the second half of the movie, I don't know if she would be.
Yeah, I don't know if Cleo has it in her to be such a biatch, but
she's kind of enticed. She is that. She's a diva at the start.
The wife in this movie has such a meltdown that you almost wonder if it comes from a place of jealousy.
Something's happening to her too, for sure.
Something's happening to her, but I think too the way that Duana is sexualized a little bit. I don't know. She's
jealous.
She's jealous. She's exotic, right? Like the wife is as boring and plain as it gets. Her and her dumbass husband, who has this dumb look on his face.
Yeah.
Like someone just slapped him or something.
But it is really kind of like harrowing to just be reminded, like this movie came out 66, right? Yeah. French New Wave happened like early 60s.
59, 60.
This was happening and we never see that.
Yeah.
And so it really is a wake-up call.
Yeah. All those cute French movies.
Exactly. I mean, like Pierre Le Fou also takes place in the south of France, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And it came out in 65. It came out 1 year before this. It's very interesting to think about, and it's very eye-opening, of course.
Yeah.
And depressing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the letter and the letter writer.
Oh my God.
And the French dub and everything. So I was confused. As we said, when Madame says she doesn't speak French, I thought she was just being a bitch and insulting her French. But then when the letter comes, I was like, why is the man reading it? And then when I rewound it to find the director, Sembène, I noticed that he has a sign above him that says like public letter writer.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this thing about like illiteracy, and obviously that was important to him.
But how fitting that the director casts himself in a role where he's translating for the characters.
So that's the irony of it, is even in a film about like the lasting effect of colonization, there was this criteria that they had to follow to get money, which is that her thoughts had to be in French. So it's like so ironic.
Yeah.
And it just adds another layer of vulnerability to her colonizers, that they just like took over her letter and are writing all this shit for
thoughts,
her
without even asking her.
Then she rips up her mom's letter.
Well, that ends up being like the final straw too.
But yeah, the irony there is is quite crazy.
So the whole thing is they haven't paid her, right? That's why she hasn't sent money home.
No, I'm guessing
They were
not,
just being shitty and not paying her.
Yeah.
And so that's why in the end he finally goes and he's like, well, shit, here's
your money.
Yeah.
And she turns him down.
Man, fuck these people.
Literally.
These people. They literally, they're both just so grotesque. Like they're just.
And the friends
are trash.
Yeah.
Friends are fucking trash.
Yeah.
It's just such a funny contrast to Cleo.
You can't help but think of it, right? Because it's like, even in film, okay, I watched Mildred Pierce, right? We do see the black housemaid in that.
Mm-hmm.
But in these French movies, they never show any housemaids. They never show black people, ever.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying showing them as housemaids in Mildred Pierce like that is the right thing to do, but it is just interesting that like the whole French New Wave kind of glossed over that.
Yeah.
And maybe to be fair, the French New Wave were like these like super liberal people who probably didn't have, like they were the anti-bourgeoisie.
Yeah.
So it's probably why they don't show up. But still, you can't help but think about it.
Yeah, especially because Mildred Pierce was made 20 years before the French New Wave, really.
I haven't seen that many French movies from the 50s. What are those like?
Yeah, some Renoir and some, I'm trying to think of the big.
Like what? Or their period. Like Madame De, right? Came out in the 50s, but it's period.
Oh, Fools, yeah.
Does she have maids?
I don't remember any.
I don't remember any either.
No, it's true. No, you have a good point. Are you second guessing your French New Wave?
No.
Through the course of this episode, you're going to be like, you know what?
Fuck the French New Wave. There is, though, we should mention something 8 Hours Leave or the one with the soldier.
Story of a 3-Day Pass?
Yes.
The Van Peebles movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he's American.
Yeah. That's a great movie.
Yeah.
I think that was the late 50s.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about her a little bit.
Yeah.
Like the film is hard to watch and it would be wrong to say she isn't a victim. However, I do think he gives her so much with so simple a plot, and it ends on a note of dignity for the Senegalese, I think.
Yeah.
Despite it being, of course, abuse after abuse after abuse.
Well, the brilliant part of the movie too is that it doesn't take it over the top. Like the abuse could very well have gotten more physical, and it does start to get physical when she's trying to take the mask back.
Gets a little physical, but then immediately she ends it. So that's the thing. That's why I didn't see it coming. Like I really didn't see it coming, because like in the end, like what she does is terrible, and she ends her life, and it's the result of severe depression. But I think there is something to be said of like, it is her taking control.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it is her reclaiming control over her life. And what a tragic thing that it had to be that way. But you're right. It doesn't even, the abuse doesn't escalate far enough before she does that. I mean, not saying that she didn't have reason to, but it's just interesting that it doesn't get very obvious and yet she still takes control.
Well,
I mean, it's obvious. It doesn't get very explicit.
Yeah.
To the point of physical abuse.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like, was she being? They were withholding food from her, though.
It's towards the end they are.
So it's almost as if, like, I do love the simplicity, but I almost wish there was like one scene showing us that instead of just telling us
the withholding of the food.
Yeah.
Well, the wife does say like, oh, if I have to make my own coffee, or if you're sleeping in, like, I'm gonna, you don't eat.
Yeah.
But like the fact too, the way in which she kills herself, in their bathroom, it's her taking control of her life, and it's also a huge fuck you to them, because like for the rest of the time that they live in this apartment, that's what they're going to be known for, and this is where it happened. And even, is it the wife or the husband, when they go in there after it's over and they kind of flash back, like just kind of look at the empty tub, so that's going to haunt them for
Good.
No, great. But I get the sense too that like when she's still in Senegal before she comes over to France, she's kind of withdrawn already. Like she's kind of, I think she's depressed from the beginning. Like,
you think?
Yeah, I don't think that France is what, like the Riviera is what necessarily, like it sends her over the top, right? Where she's just like, fuck this. But I think I get the sense even when she's in Senegal that she's kind of depressed. Like even with her boyfriend.
She's not really into him that much.
Yeah, she's not really into him, and she's kind of just like.
But there is like there are moments though, like when she does get her job and she's like so excited and she's kind of like playful and saying, I got a job. And then the moment where she runs, the scene with her boyfriend is important because that's when she's like on some important memorial and he gets mad at her that she's on this like sacred thing, but she's just like tra la 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 la.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she's depressed. But then she's saying in that scene like, oh my God, I'm going to go to France. And I don't know. What makes you think she's depressed when she's in Senegal?
I guess maybe she's just not super into that guy. That could be it.
She's just not into him.
But enough to pack a photo of the two of them and her.
That made me cry.
Yeah.
It was that emotionally effective, and yet she's not into him.
Yeah. What do you think this movie takes from the most stylistically? Because I think when I first saw it, I was like, oh, it takes a lot from neorealism, but I don't know how much it takes from neorealism. I think almost in a way, too, I can imagine, and it's an easy and lazy comparison because housework, but I could see Chantal took some of this for her stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to figure out, because he went to film school in Russia.
Yeah.
So he's kind of pulling on, and the life in France, life in Senegal, he's kind of pulling on a huge number of influences here.
Totally.
What did you see in this the most? Because there's something about the cleanliness of the storytelling, the unfussiness. It's just very matter of fact. It's clean. It's kind of Ozu-like almost, even, where the camera's always kind of locked down.
It's also like early Romer.
Early Romer, yeah.
Would it be bad to say Godard?
Yeah, I don't see any Godard in this.
Like
Are you kidding?
I mean, like early Godard.
Like what?
Vive sa vie?
Okay. Like how Vive sa vie has become the trump card on this show for like the one thing that Godard
very
did that was
economic, just like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
What year was that though?
That came out probably, I don't know, 1960.
1962.
Oh.
So 4 years before this. Okay. It's possible. Yeah. Maybe he's pulling on some Varda. I don't know. No, but his influence doesn't feel so French in this. Like stylistically, at least.
Yeah. You're right. But what does it feel like?
Like I felt some Ozu. I felt some Italian neorealism.
I like that. What do you think of the like flashback device? I
like it.
Voiceover.
No, I like the flashbacks.
Yeah. So I read. Does she not talk at all?
I don't think she really does.
She doesn't really open her mouth when she's in France.
Yeah.
But we have that voiceover, of course, which was not supposed to be in French. But
or was it?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. So she's not supposed to speak French.
No.
Okay. Because the way that it is, having not known the production history, I was like, so she knows French. She just is not letting on that she knows French, so that she doesn't have to like answer to their every little whim.
But then they had to read her letter for her. You think she was just putting on a show?
Or that she was illiterate? Because they read it to her in French.
Oh, they read it to her in French. I know, yeah. So that means... Now I'm confused.
I kind of like the idea that she knows French. She knows how to speak French perfectly, but she's just not engaging. She's like, fuck you, I'm not going to engage.
I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah?
I don't know if that's... I like it too, but I don't know if that's the case.
I love her ID gaff energy throughout this, though.
She has great ID gaff energy, especially when she's eating breakfast that one day. Like, she's just sitting and eating breakfast. It's so great.
Yeah. Sleeping in.
Yeah. And I love how she's like, why do they want to eat rice? Like, this is not... If I was a maid in Senegal, I would not be told to make rice. Like, and it just goes to show how they're like, what's the word? Exoticizing? Like,
exactly.
Yeah, like,
yeah. I was about to say that. Well, they're even like fucking these white people. They're like, oh, good for me. I like when my food's a little spicy.
Yeah, she's like, I didn't make it too spicy. And one guy's like, very spicy.
It's like, fuck this guy. These people are insufferable.
Yeah, but my heart does really break in the beginning when she's like naming all the things she's gonna do, and she's, Madame told me about all the stores and yeah, and she says like the doors are shut all day and night. Like, what are the people of France like?
Mm-hmm. And she wonders that several times.
Come to her are just the worst of the crop.
Yeah,
but probably pretty common back then.
I think so. Should we do sight and sound?
Let's do it.
What's your favorite sight?
Well, I really liked the shot of her walking outside. This is like in Senegal with the children, and they get on their tricycle. It's one long shot.
Yeah.
because she's actually doing the thing that she wanted to do. And it's just like a nice long shot.
She's like holding the hand of one of the kids.
Yeah, it helps them on. And also, when she's with the boyfriend in that one scene, and she looks up at the sky and she's looking at like the skyscrapers. I really like that shot. Anytime it's a close up of her, really.
Yeah. Powerful.
Yeah. And then I already said when they open up the suitcase and there's a picture of her and her boyfriend, I thought that was very effective to me.
Yeah, no, it's heartbreaking. Following on the heels of what just happened.
I know. And it's like, yeah, she might not have been that into him, but like she could have been. And like he could have been her family. I mean, like she liked him enough to keep the picture.
Yeah.
It's just sad.
I know. My favorite sight, the ultimate act of defiance, it's the shot of her heels in the middle of the floor. So she has heels on, she takes them off and just leaves them in the middle of the room.
That's great.
And then the wife comes and picks them up and is like all pissed about it. But I'm like, yeah, fuck you, lady.
Fuck you,
she's
madam.
She's mad that she's even wearing heels in the first place.
Which is like, why are you mad? She looks great.
Yeah,
like,
that's why she's mad.
Yeah, it's probably, honestly.
She does look great. But yeah, the fact that now the wife is having to be the maid for her and pick up after her is great.
I love that.
And she gets fucking pissed that she has to make her own coffee in a mocha pot. Have you used one of those before?
Yeah.
You know how to brew on those?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you?
No, but they're super cool.
They come out it comes out like really strong and better. You have to like water it down.
Well, it's like espresso essentially, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how the kid is drinking coffee. So French.
I think, I was about to say it's a super French thing or just super European thing.
But that's what's so, like, the scene where she goes to find a maid, right? And Duana's there and she doesn't really approach her. She's kind of the quiet one. And she picks her, like, solely based on looks, I'm guessing.
Well, the fact that she's not overeager.
I guess so, yeah. So then when she's telling her, like, you're dressed too nicely, I was like, but don't you care a lot about appearance and stuff? But then when you realize, like, oh, she doesn't want her to look as good as her, let's say.
Well, the wife is always frazzled. She's always, you can tell she has low self-esteem. She's not having, her whole life is a sham. It's a show for their friends, their shitty friends that they have over. And she's miserable. And the fact that Duana comes in, is a stylistic girl boss.
Girl boss.
No, she looks great. She has a confidence about her. There's a quiet confidence. Like, of course, she's intimidated.
Yeah.
Because she's boring as hell and her husband's a grave-digging ghoul.
Grave-digging. What's your favorite sound?
So it's a line in the movie. It's when Duana says, it's her line about, again, she repeats this kind of throughout the movie, but she's like, France is the living room, the kitchen, etc.
So good.
Here it is.
La cuisine, la salle de bain, la chambre à coucher, le salon. Je ne fais que ça. Je ne suis pas venue en France pour ça.
It's super sad.
Yeah.
France is the super exotic place for her, and she gets there and it's full of all this hope and promise, and then all she sees are the walls of this apartment.
Yeah.
It's a small apartment too.
This is their vacation home.
Oh, it's their vacation home.
It's kind of unclear, but that's what I'm guessing. Like, it seems like they live in Senegal and then this is their summer vacation.
Maybe.
That's what I saw it as, and that's why, like, the kids aren't there yet, like...
You think, though, if they live in Senegal, they'd be a little bit more fucking
So what were they doing in Senegal when they hired her? That's my
Maybe
thing.
she went just to hire her, but that seems like a long distance
they had a house and stuff, and, like, the kids were there. And he told his friends at the lunch, he's like, oh, well, you have to come to Senegal.
You're
that's
right.
What I'm thinking. I think it's, like, their vacation.
Or the one in Senegal is their vacation house. One of the two.
Maybe. But it's so small, their apartment in France. So that's.
But see, this movie touches on, so we'll get to your sound in a minute, but this movie touches on something that's still super relevant, which is white people who pretend to be, it's like them, like, oh, you have to go to Senegal, you have to go. But in reality, like, they don't
give a shit.
They don't give a shit. Yeah. They just like to seem worldly and like, like good, accepting people, but they're actually just trash.
Yeah. And
I know so many people like this, unfortunately.
We all do.
I mean, we all do. Family members, Yeah, this is a thing, and it's still there and active, and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
What's your favorite sound?
It's the music when she's cleaning the bath, because immediately before,
that was almost mine.
It's like big band music almost. Like it's like very European. She's looking out, and then it cuts to like more traditional sounding music while she's cleaning the bath, like immediately, very drastically. So here it is. It's just like her wonder looking out.
I almost picked that.
And then immediately she's in the bath and it turns to more traditional music. Again, simple symbolism, but works really well.
Yeah, this movie is so good. It's so good. And it just feels fresh still.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas some of the movies we did on the 2012 list feel creaky.
Yeah. Like John Wayne's dusty ass.
Oh my God. I like Rio Bravo.
But you still said he has a dusty ass.
I did. Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that. He has trail ass. Dusty trail ass. Well, this is normally where we do Pauline Kael. I couldn't find a Pauline Kael review.
That's strange.
So I can only assume that this was not widely released when it came out and she didn't see it, but
Probably not.
Yeah, couldn't find Pauline Kael. But we now turn to the wonderful people at Letterboxd that have not agreed to have their reviews read on our show.
4.5 stars. Among other virtues, contains one of the most startling and powerful cuts to a POV shot I can think of.
Oh, the bathtub.
I was going to ask you. It's the bathtub, right?
Must be.
It must be. Because it is. I do remember. It's not necessarily a POV, though.
Oh, I kind of took it as one.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That must be what they're referring to. Because I can't think of another really obvious one.
No.
This one just has a heart and says, the anger and oppression in here is mostly quiet. It simmers before it explodes. White supremacy manifests itself in subconscious gestures and daily cruelties, just as much as in colonial rule. I felt just as constrained by that apartment as the protagonist. Well said.
That's really well said. Someone gave it 3 stars and said, Black Girl is a mere hour long, and I already didn't have much to say about its content, other than that the ending of writer-director Ousmane Sembène's most popular film, The Return of the Mask to Senegal, is such a devastatingly astute post-colonial commentary on lingering colonialism that it handedly boosts the oppression-centered theme of the film's middle stretch to retroactively reach new heights.
Okay.
I don't know what that means. Those representations of oppression/abuse strike me as too middle of the road when viewed isolated from this conclusion. As said, though, Black Girl doesn't let you wait long for its upsetting ending. So this person gave it 3 stars and is just contradicting, just like spitting out
They're just
bullshit
regurgitating
and, like,
shit.
Trying to. Oh, the middle section doesn't make sense when you take out the ending. Okay, why take out the ending?
Yeah, what?
What are we doing here?
This is so all one piece that, like there's no. That's ridiculous. Speaking of bad reviews, here's a 2-star. They say, a pointless martyrdom, a prosaic Cinderella story of flat insight that even at 59 minutes is too long.
Oh my God.
Whilst being dry and tasteless, it also manages to try too hard to create a wicked stepmother of Disney proportions. And we just talked about how the movie doesn't take her over the top.
Actually.
Yeah.
This is funny because it's just silly to compare them, but someone gave it 4 stars and said, this 59-minute film says more than any 59 superhero films you can find.
I mean, it's true.
It's true. And it's a very...
It's a easy target. I mean, it's a lazy... Yeah, of course.
I feel bad. I feel like an asshole.
No. It does. 0.5 star. This is on the Sight and Sound list for political purposes.
Oh my God.
It's
what are you,
so
Paul
boring.
Schrader?
I know. Narration with next to no point. Acting that's par at best. direction that's serviceable, I guess, but in service of nothing, or at least nothing I'm interested in. I have the faintest interest in. Like, Jesus.
What sucks is that this person is the person who should have like been affected by it most.
Yeah.
They just won't be.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's the sad thing about racism.
Yeah.
And the very kind of hopeless aspect of it is just this fear that racist people will never change.
Yeah. Well, imagine thinking this way. It's because it's a black movie, it's on the list, but like the direction has no style to it and the acting is at par best. And I'm like, what the fuck? You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Don't ever watch another movie again.
Don't listen to our show.
Yeah. 4 stars. A quiet gut punch. You like the contrast to these two reviews? Diaf's gaze says more than pages of dialogue. Colonialism, racism, and alienation wrapped in 60 minutes of poetic rage. Short film, long aftertaste.
How do you find these good reviews? I've been looking and I can't find good stuff. That one's great.
That's all I have.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, this has been Black Girl.
I'm so glad I saw this.
Yeah, it's a great movie, and I think thoroughly does and it enjoys a spot on the top 100, even if it's at the very, very bottom. I think.
Hey, it made it.
Yeah, it made it. It's a really great piece of filmmaking that I think everyone should see, not because it's still relevant now, which sadly, unfortunately, it is. And I think, I don't know that humankind is really ever capable of evolution at this point, but as we've proven it time and again that we're not capable of evolving.
Like in millions of years.
Yeah, we're not going to be around in millions of years. But yeah, I mean, or do we just evolve so much further in a million years that,
My hope is that since I just watched Space Odyssey, baby Dave will come and
the rebirth.
Yeah.
So, next week would have been a film we've already done, but this one is unique. It's Meshes of the Afternoon from the top of the list by Maya Deren. We actually did it as a S'mores episode 2 years ago. It was from June 27th, 2023. It was episode 76, and because it was S'mores, we had it locked. So right now, if you're not a subscriber on Patreon, our now defunct S'more series does not appear to you. They used to appear on the feed if you listen on Spotify, you listen on Apple Podcasts. It would be there with a lock symbol on it, but all the platforms pulled those. So we've just republished it. So if you look back, it's episode 76 that we did in 2023, June 27th, that we did a whole episode that we have made available called The Films of Maya Deren, in which we cover our thoughts on Meshes of the Afternoon and 5 of our other films.
Yeah, which is number 16 on the list.
Yeah. So instead, next week we will be doing Do the Right Thing by Spike Lee. So
how exciting.
We have a couple big hitters coming up.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah. So anyway, come back for that. Until then, I'm Greg.
I'm Jackie.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Seen and Heard is an official podcast of the Arroyo Film Club. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to drop us a line, you can find us on email at hello@seenandheardpod.com or on Instagram @seenandheardpod.